Proud of each and every one of you. I know this is a difficult time. It's a weird time. We had to adjust and adapt very quickly to this. Just make sure you're, just appreciative of what teachers are doing, how teachers are helping. Okay, I do know we get to stay at home and do this. Yes, it is nice that we get to stay at home with our families, but it's not the same. Teachers get into teaching because they care about the students. They want to see the students, and it's just weird. Like, all we're doing is teaching you. So just make sure you are reaching out to teachers, maybe, giving a teacher, say, hey, thank you for doing what you're doing, or whatever you want to say to them. But just reach out to maybe one teacher this week, okay? Doesn't have to be a teacher in your grade. It could be anybody at the school, but I promise you they would appreciate if you gave them a little pat on the back, because we all need times like these to appreciate what we have in the world. So once again, we're doing one-step equations today. So just 4 little things that I wanted to point out about yesterday's work. You guys were getting a lot of right answers, and you guys were doing really well, okay? I tried a new software. I know it was a little weird. Maybe the video was a little glitchy, but you guys did a really good job of handling it and understanding what we were doing. But there's one thing I want to point out, okay? Here's the first thing I wanted to point out from yesterday. You have to write your steps under the equation, okay? I saw a lot of people just write down an answer. They were like, hey, look, I got the answer. I did it all in my head. That's great, but I promise you, in the future, you're not going to be able to just do that. So I want you to work on what we're doing, how we're doing it, because we're going to get a little more difficult, okay? And add some more things in. So just know that you're doing it for a purpose. Okay, so write down your steps under the equation. Biggest thing is put like x equals, n equals, y equals, whatever it is. You have to use the variable with an equal sign. This is not an answer, right? It should be something like y equals 6, because we're solving for a variable. If you go back to my video, that's what I did every single time, every single step. Okay? The other thing is, remember, you're doing the operation to both sides. You have to understand that when you do something to one side of the equation to balance, what I call balancing the equation, okay, you have to also do it to the other side. Okay, and then the last thing is just something that really bugs me as a math teacher. Put a daggone box around your answer. Super bugs me. I don't know if your elementary teachers didn't tell you that or what, but please make sure you do that. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through 4 more example questions for you. All you have to do after you do this, you'll see an attached Microsoft form. Please make sure you're completing the Microsoft form. After you click submit, you're done for the day. You don't have to send me a picture of anything unless you have makeup work. Okay, so make sure if you have makeup work, send me a picture of those. But anything for today, you don't have to do. So let's look at 4 examples. So I'm going to slide over to our first example. So 7x equals 63. So remember, there's an invisible operation right there, right? That's something called multiplication. Or you could write it like this, right? Multiplication. So I'm going to do both sides. I'm going to do the inverse operation, which is dividing by 7 to this side. And I'm going to draw my line, my wall. And I'm going to also divide this side by 7. So if I was to ask you, what step do you take to solve the equation, you would say, I divide both sides by 7. And then I get left with x equals, what's 63 divided by 7? Yes, you get 9. So do you see how I did exactly what I just stated up here? Look at that. Beautiful, right? My handwriting is not the greatest. I'm sorry, but the math will be. Okay? I wrote the step under the equation. I put x equals, y equals, n equals, whatever I did there, I did. Okay? I did the both equations, both sides. I put balance both sides. And then I put a box around my answer. That probably took me 31 seconds, right? Go back and look at the video. 31 seconds to do that whole problem. But I know exactly what I'm doing. Okay? You need to make sure you do the same thing. So let's look at example number 2. I'm going to skip over to this one. So if I look at example number 2, I have negative 9 plus n equals 14. Well, think about it. I got my wall, right? build my wall, build my wall, build my wall. Bam. Okay, now what's the inverse here? So I want to get left with n equals something. But what am I doing right here? What would be the inverse of -9? Right? Opposite of -9, we learned in integers, was adding 9. Okay? If I add 9 to a -9, that cancels out. And then I go over to my other side and I add 9. What's 14 plus 9? Well, 14 plus 6 is 20, plus 3 more is 23. Look at that. I boxed in my answer. I put n equals 23. I didn't just say, oh, the answer is 23. Okay? Do your math, do your math. Let's look at example 3. So I'm going to scroll out, slide over. Look at example 3. 95 equals n plus 13. So I build my wall. So I have 95 on one side, n plus 13 on the other. Well, I want n by itself. Some of you are like, whoa, what in the world? N is on the wrong side. No, it's okay. I just flip-flopped it so we don't freak out. So now I need to take minus 13 because now those cancel out. And then remember, whatever I do to one side, I have to do the other. So I'm going to subtract 13. Well, what's 95 minus 13? Because the funny thing is you guys go off to the side and do this scratch math all the time. But all I'm doing is look how balanced, look how nice and neat my work looks. So I take 95 minus 13, 5 minus 3 is 2, 9 minus 1 is 8. So I get, now don't read 82 equals n, that's weird. Okay, it's still n equals 82, it's just flip-flopped. All right, example 4, last and final example. N divided by 4, because look at this right here. You guys are going to get blown away. I say it 1,000 times a day. What does that mean? Right? First period, second period, fourth period, whatever you want to say. Yes, that's division. Division. Make sure you know that. So the inverse of division is multiplication. You said it. So then I'm going to multiply by 4. That cancels out. Oh, forgot my wall. I'm left with n equals, well, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So then I'm going to multiply by 4 over here. 8 times 4, magic number of 32. Bam. N equals, box, answer, problem, all right there. Took me maybe 34 seconds this time because I was a little slower because I wanted you to know that that right there means division. Fractions are division. Okay, so if you look at that, we got a couple notes from today. Okay, 4 problems, a couple notes. Just remember, make sure you guys are showing your work, doing your steps. I'm here to help you. Please communicate to teachers. Please do not just sit and stay isolated. Make sure you're communicating with people. It is going to be a beautiful day. Go outside and play. Okay, just take an hour during the school day, go all night, whatever you want to do, but just get your work done and play outside. It's easy. Work and play, right? That's what us adults do too.